Bassheads, what's good? In this video, we're going to talk about My Girl by The Temptations. This is an essential bass line to know. You start playing it, everybody's going to recognize it. And if you're a beginner, there's a lot of good stuff in this song that is going to help your playing. All those ingredients, like I usually talk about, are going to be found in other tunes as well. So let's get into it. Before we do, I want you to know that the backing track that I've created was done in Songmaster Pro. There's a link below. It won't cost you anything extra, but it does help the channel out. And also, the notation comes from Tomplay. There's thousands of tab and notation on that site. You click my link below, you get 14 days free. And I believe that they are running like a 30% off sale on the yearly subscription. So you can check that out for 14 days for free. So check the link below this video. Let's get into it. Why not start at the beginning? Here's the intro. This classic intro starts on an upbeat. We've got G and C. And then that classic pentatonic guitar part. Okay, that is a guitar part, but I just wanted you to see it. Now, when I have taught this in person, in-person lessons, one of the things that I've seen people struggle with is the shape of a fifth. Now, this is a common shape that you're going to see over and over and over again in all sorts of music. If you're brand new, just starting out, you may have heard of the interval of a fifth or heard the term roots and fives already. So to get the physics of that, my pinky is playing the G. My first finger is playing the C. The other two fingers are just hanging out. That's the intro. Let's get into the verse. Look at this really simple rhythm on the verse. Really, really simple, but effective. So we're just going between two chords, a C major and an F major. So 1, 2, ready, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. C. You can keep that groove with a metronome, play along with the track. Again, I use Songmaster Pro to get the backing tracks. So it's a great tool if you don't want to use a recreation, but also Tomplay is going to have backing tracks as well. So if you're a beginner, which I'm guessing you might be, beginner, intermediate, somewhere around there, you know, if you're struggling with alternating fingers, here's an opportunity to do that. See that? Switch to F. Now, if you want to experiment, you can experiment with things like palm muting. Okay? That is the verse section. Let's now look at the pre-chorus. We've got a little bit more movement. Can you see where it is? It's in that second measure where we have a chromatic note, that being the F sharp, which is not in the key of C major, but it leads us into the G. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to count it off and just play it for you if you'd like. I realized that I forgot to put the tab up here, but that's okay because you got me and I'm going to show you the fingering. So C, D, F, F sharp, G, C, D, F, G. Let's do that one more time. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and C, D, F, F sharp, G, C, D, F, G. Let's move on to the next section. Before we do that, we need to talk about how we get out of that, how we get into the chorus part. So here's the chorus. Four measures. Let's examine the measures, what's happening in there. So we've got what we might call a 2-beat type pattern where we're playing on beat 1 and beat 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. In measure 2, we're playing C and we rest on beat 2, but then on beat 3 and beat 4, we play that 5th below C. That is a whole step that leads us into, we're still on that C chord, so it's still leading us into the D, but not as, there's not the tension that would exist if we played a C sharp. So 1, 2, ready, and my girl. So you could think about that almost like a fill, okay? So that G is the 5th. The 5th of a chord is always going to want to bring us back home. So, and then we're back into a verse. Now, I do want you to go listen to the track. And hear some of these things on your own, but I do want to show you a little bit of a nuance in verse 2. A little variation, and that's going to be with that 8th note on the and of beat 4 in measure 2 on the F chord. So we've got C, that we're in the key of C. That B is the 7. It's a half step that leads us into C. All right, and then that same root 5th motion, instead of having on the 4th bar there, instead of having the B on the and of 4, it's just on beat 4. Let me play that entire 4 measures for you so that you can put it in context, okay? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and I just repeated. Okay, this is very basic, common language. You're going to see and hear this type of stuff all over the place. Now, in the song, there is, we go into the verse again, and then we have this interlude, which is the same as the intro. Okay, so we don't need to cover that because we covered it at the beginning of this video, but I do want to show you the modulation. The modulation is actually pretty hip. So let's look at the modulation. I call it a modulation. It's really a bridge, and it will modulate up. So here's where we are here. C1. I'm going to play this first 4 bars first. 1, 2, ready, and... Hey, hey. Let's talk about that. So now we went into, I played the D, that's going to be on the next page. So we've got C, that 8th note rhythm on the and of beat 4 we've already seen that. We're just playing the same. We're playing a different note than we played before. We played B before. We were going into a different chord. Now we're just staying on the G. So let me do that first 2 measures for you. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready, and... You can also play that D open to get into the C. And an open A. Or you can play a closed A. It might be easier to play the open A, more efficient rather, to play the open A to get us into the D. So now we're playing D, I played that rhythm wrong. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and no, I didn't. So now this is taking us into the key of D. So we've modulated a whole step. Okay, that entire bridge section acts as a vehicle. So let me show you without reading it. Ignore what's on the screen right now. Hey, hey, hey. So this E minor to A, if you've heard the terminology 2-5, that E minor is the second chord in the key of D, and the A is the 5th. So we've got 2, 5, 1. And then we're going to do the same groove that we've been playing the entire song. We're going to play it in the key of D. All we've done is shift it up a whole step. Now, if you've ever seen any of my videos saying to use different grooves as etudes, this is, and moving them around the neck, this is sort of an example of that, how that comes into play in real life. So now that we're in the key of D, again, we're still playing. Okay, we're still playing that same groove, the same groove as we've done before. So I'm not going to get too much into that. But then, check this out. Now we've got different notes, note values than we've seen before. So let's tackle this 4 bars here, okay? I just want to talk theory, a little bit of theory for a second. So instead of going, we're going lower. So we play D. The F sharp leads us into that G, A. You see that? And in measure 3, it looks a little bit different because there's a whole note, a half note instead of that quarter note. Consider that a feel thing. Let me show you the difference. So in measure 1, measure 3, I played a C natural. I should have played a C sharp. So we're just lengthening the note a little bit. That's it, right? It's a feel thing. As we go out in the outro, we have the chorus and the outro. Just down the major scale. If we're in C, we're just going down the scale from the fifth, which is A. So what do you think? Was that good for you? Listen, I think that you ought to watch that video up there next and maybe check out that playlist over there. Of course, I need you to hit that subscribe button and a like button, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.